Speaking Human.
Today on Speaking Human, we witness a murder and get stalked by a hitman via phone, text, email, Twitter, and online video. Will we survive? And, more importantly, will it make us want to see the movie Kill Me 3 Times?
Speaking Human.
Welcome to Speaking Human, the official podcast of Monsters Unlimited, a creative agency with a business brain. I'm Shad Conley, Communications Director at Monsters Unlimited, and ever since I was a child, I've always dreamt of being hunted down by a cold-blooded killer.
And I'm an anonymous bystander who is not the creative director, nor am I associated with Monsters Unlimited.
Glad you got that out up front. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, our goal on Speaking Human is to simplify complex marketing topics. We toss aside all the buzzwords and mumbo-jumbo to focus on how marketing can bring brands and people together. On today's episode, we're talking about the impact of interactive marketing campaigns by looking at an innovative effort to promote the Australian indie movie Kill Me 3 Times. We've got a hired killer threatening to take out this podcast and everyone listening to it at any moment. So let's get into it.
Feast your eyes on my magnum opus. They look like good people, but you put them in extreme danger. You see, the man I work for, he wouldn't give you a second chance like I am. He'd just as soon put a bullet right between their eyes. Yep, you'll end each and every one of them, unless you do exactly as you've been instructed. So I'm telling you once, and once only. Delete the video.
What you just heard was an audio clip from the Kill Me 3 Times immersive experience, a deviously unique marketing campaign created to promote the movie Kill Me 3 Times. We'll talk about that effort and the overall marketing power of interactive experiences on today's show. But first, Patrick, can you provide a little background on this film and its murderous marketing strategy?
I sure can. Kill Me 3 Times is an Australian movie starring Simon Pegg of Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz fame that was released in the U.S. in theaters and video on demand in April 2015. Here's the IMDb summary of the movie. Professional hitman Charlie Wolf finds himself in three tales of murder, blackmail, and revenge after a botched contract assignment. The immersive experience for Kill Me 3 Times was developed by digital ad agency Loud and Clear. Here's the premise of this personalized marketing campaign. You accidentally witnessed the murder committed by Charlie Wolf and one of his thugs and recorded it on your smartphone. Now they are hunting you down any way they can. Phone calls, texts, email, social media to get their dirty hands on that video.
Very dramatic interpretation. Charlie Wolf. Great hitman name, right?
Anything with Wolf.
Yeah, he's scary. He's a wolf. For the people who haven't gone through the Kill Me 3 Times immersive experience, let me take you through the mechanics of the campaign, how it works, and the story that's wrapped into it. Okay? You go to a web page and you watch a video. And in this video, it's first-person video where you see Charlie Wolf and Sam, the thug, killing a person, right? And you record this on your smartphone, and they see you at the end of the video, and they're like, we're going to find you. So then the next step here is you sign up for this immersive experience. Now, the sign-up process, pretty elaborate. You got to give them your phone number, your email, and your Facebook and Twitter account access. So a lot's kind of required in that. And then the third step is for 3 days, a story unfolds with you at the center, using all those things, using social media and phone and text and email. And here's the basic story, Charlie, who's kind of the boss, sends Sam, the thug, to hunt you down. So Sam starts, sending you texts and phone calls and threatening emails. I'll give you an example. Day one, the first text that came through on this immersive experience was this. You slippery little bastard, we saw you with your camera phone. You've poked your nose in the wrong man's business. Later that day you get a Twitter message that says, I know your face. Hand over the phone and video or this goes south real quick. And there's a picture, taken from my Facebook page of me and, people from my family. Basically, they're threatening you. They're going to come after you, this Sam guy. So that goes on for a little bit. You get around 5 to 7 different messages through these different channels each day over the course of 3 days. And this story narrative unfolds within it where Sam's threatening you for a while, but then Charlie starts going after Sam. So then Charlie wants to kill both Sam and you, and Sam's contacting you and telling you about this. And that's where the story turns then, and Sam's protecting you as Charlie's coming after you. And that's where it ends then and leads into the movie. So for people listening who have no idea what we're talking about when we say immersive experience, that's the structure of it. So Patrick, why don't you tell me, before we decided to talk about this marketing campaign, what was your awareness of the movie Kill Me Three Times? Have you ever heard of it before?
I'm a big fan of Simon Pegg and his movies, but I hadn't heard of this one. How about you?
Yeah, I was the same thing. I mean, I had zero awareness of this movie. I'd never heard of it before. This wasn't even remotely on my radar, so marketing win right there. It gave us attention to the film we'd never even, obviously neither one of us would have heard of otherwise. So you're talking about the immersive experience, which we just explained. What do you think these campaign, or this one in particular, do well?
To me, immersive experiences are just what the internet needs. And I'm using the whole internet.
Tell me more.
Hollywood studios have deep pockets to do it on a big scale like this. When you're producing a movie, you have a little bigger budget. And this one definitely breaks the boundaries from what people have done conventionally with movie marketing. Kill Me Three Times has really focused on this and made it their primary marketing effort. And I like that they've taken some chances. There's some violence to this movie, and obviously killing somebody or being stalked by somebody is something that could be taken, from a negative standpoint. But they have immersed people in this experience, and I think it's a really cool effort.
Yeah, the concept is definitely pretty interesting, and I even like the idea in general, of how can we make marketing immersive? How can we put an individual at the center of this whole effort we're doing where it orbits around them? And this is not, a big budget movie. This is a smaller budget movie, so I think they did it kind of more in depth than I've really seen it before.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting in a lot of ways. So, a few things I liked about this campaign, from being immersed in it, is one of the first things was it takes you by surprise. The fact that it goes on for like 3 days and you don't know when this stuff's going to come, you keep forgetting about it and then it keeps popping up at you. One of the first things I got was a phone call, and I saw there was no caller ID. I don't know why I answered. I usually don't answer those calls, but I did. And then there was just this pause and I'm like, hello? And then get this voice that's like, we're coming after you. And at first I'm like, oh God, what is this? Oh God, what's happening? It has that element of surprise. It does something different and it's more memorable. Most marketing melts away after you look at it. This one keeps popping back up, at least in those 3 days you're immersed in it.
That's something I think is really important in this, in the way that the experience unfolds, is that so often marketing efforts, we're ready for the commercial, right? We're ready for the ad. We're ready for you to sell us. And when you sign up for this effort, granted, you know what you're signing up for to some extent, that they're going to be communicating with you, but you don't know when it's going to come. And I think that's a really, cool part about this, is that, like you said, you didn't know when a text was going to come to you. You didn't know when you didn't even know you were going to get a phone call, I'm sure. And that mystery, I think, is the amazing part of that,
Yeah, I agree that mystery adds something. And another cool thing it does, it pulls you into the story. It lets you get to know the characters and the tone of the movie. And that's obviously very specific to film. But it's something, as more brands start developing stories and telling stories around things, you can think of different ways you could use it to sort of immerse people into a story. And who doesn't want to think, hey, I'm not just watching this movie, I'm a part of it, which is the way you even feel after this campaign, which the third prong benefit is it creates that deeper level of engagement where there's almost a relationship, like you're tied to it now. So it's kind of interesting in that way. What do you see as, are there any things could have been better, or, things holding this campaign back? One of the things I saw as a challenge that I kind of mentioned earlier when I was giving that lengthy description is the fact that they ask you for that much login and personal information. Email, phone, Facebook, and Twitter definitely made me cringe at first. I don't know how you are, but that's one of those things, like, it's tough for me even to give my email to people these days. So asking people and having them give up that information is definitely...
It's risky for a marketing campaign for sure, because that could break it.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder. I saw something they were aiming to get like 10,000 people to participate, but you wonder how many people would just be turned off by having to give that much over to it, even for a fun experience.
you have to be the type of person to begin with to be involved with the marketing campaign. So maybe that's why, I mean, 10,000 people, I feel like is a pretty small number, although it's not a huge, big budget film, like you said. So
Yeah, like we said, we weren't aware of it. I don't think a lot of it has that huge awareness that'll push people to it. So I think that's like a reasonable number for what they were aiming for. But, you think of that on a regular campaign basis, it's tough for brands to get people to give over that much information. But in order to have this kind of experience, you need that a little bit. There are a few things. They have some videos where they have pictures from your Facebook page that get integrated into the story in, really cool ways, I think. So you need that stuff there so they can make it immersive. If you could make it better or could do it on a grander scale, the one thing I think would be cool is if it could be a little more interactive. This is just more like the story unfolds around you. I think it would be pretty cool if somebody could construct one of these in a way where you're making the choices and you're determining the story a little bit. Like those choose your own adventure books we used to have when we were kids.
yeah, I think that would be an awesome way to take this to the next level. Maybe it's that you can text back, or you could email back, or respond via phone, and that then changes the outcome in some way.
Yeah, or there's these decision points where you have a tree of different choices you can make that take the story in a different direction or whatever. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be very cool.
So all in all, what do you think? Does this campaign do a good job of promoting the movie, which is the first and foremost goal of a marketing campaign? Does it make you want to buy the product?
Yeah, I mean, I want to definitely see the movie now because of that. If for no other reason, then I now want to see how the movie ties into the marketing effort. Does it? And like you said, you're sort of invested now in the people. It's almost like watching a TV series and you watch 4 or 5 episodes and, oh man, now I got to watch it because I want to see what happens to those people. Even though you might not even be all that interested in the show, you become invested in the characters at some point and you have to see it through. I feel like that's what they've done well here. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, you're on the journey with them too. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I even watched the trailer and I don't necessarily think the movie looks all that great. It would have probably slipped through the cracks for me otherwise. But after being part of the campaign, I'll definitely watch it at least just to see how it connects.
And
It's a
me.
marketing win. So what's your top takeaway from this immersive experience for brands out there?
I think realistically for any company, creating experiences is what everyone should be doing on some level. Think customer experience, except you're doing it anywhere and everywhere, right? You're going to hear me say this a lot this year. It's my new mantra. Create an experience for your customers. I've even mentioned it in an episode of Visually and Verbally, our newest podcast series. Shameless plug.
Nice cross promotion there.
Yeah. Figure out what experience will work best for your customers and make it happen. And I feel like you should not limit yourself to just in-person, in-store, online, email, mobile, whatever. Not to sound cliche, but think outside the norm. So I came up with a few examples of how this could translate into a average everyday marketing campaign. If you're a local pub, let's say, give customers a reason to come back, right? And I'm not talking about your loyalists. I'm talking about the new customers who come in. Let's say if they Instagram a photo at your spot and tag the pub, have them come back for a drink on the house. Immerse them in the experience. Give them something more than what they normally would get anywhere else. And sure, you could say, well, anybody could do that, but nobody is doing that. So create a unique experience for your type of establishment. If you're a clothing store, and have a seasonal line coming out, create a scavenger hunt for customers. If they find all 10 of the new spring colors, let's say, give them an additional 10% off of what they would normally get. Create that marketing experience. Let them know that they're getting something more out of you than they would if they would go down the street and shop somewhere else for their spring outfit or whatever. Another one I thought of is, if you're a B2B, because I'm giving B2C examples, if you're a B2B and you want to engage your clients, create a personalized postcard to your lapsed or maybe your loyal customers and direct them to a landing page specific to whatever your call to action is. Give them something new that they haven't seen from you. Again, making them notice you and getting them involved, right? You want them to take a step and then give them something. Of course, incentives go a long way for people who aren't brand loyalists, but sometimes, just sometimes, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, Shad, that it just takes that little mystery and curiosity on the part of your audience. You don't need to always give them something grandiose. You can just give them something little and let them know yeah, you're a part of this story. You're a part of our business and our brand. So come, let's take this journey together. And the last thing I was going to say, because I've been going on forever, do these experiences cost money? Yes. And you'll have to do your own due diligence to find the lifetime value of your customers, because you're creating unique experiences that can be what I would say the tipping point for your brand to build a stronger relationship with your customers.
It was good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, some great examples in there. And if you put a lot of investment up front, though, and you create these things and they bring new people in that then stick with your brand, how much is that worth, you know, in the long run? A lot of good stuff to chew on there. That's a lot of good information. You know, I put it in the same terms. I just boiled it down to a few questions. I like this idea of immersive. It's a good word to use, even when you're discussing this, you know, say you're having a meeting, talking about your next marketing campaign. It's a good way to think, all right, well, how can we take this idea and make it more immersive? And I almost think of that as like, you know, an astronaut helmet. You're just laying over top of your individual customer, immersing them in it. So key questions to ask to kind of do that. How can you put people in the middle of your marketing campaign? How can you take this idea you have, you know, all right, we're going to have this big sale or promotion, you know, as like your B2C example, and how can we take that and swirl that around the individual customer? Second question, how can you get that extra level of involvement in a way that's valuable or fun for the customer and moves them closer to your product or service at the same time? Key words in there, valuable and fun for them, but at the same time, you know, brings them closer to what you're selling and what you're doing. And then the third question, how can you use different online tools and communication channels? You know, we have all these things out there now, all these just online alone, online video, social media, you know, text, email, all these different tools out there. How can we construct them in a way that'll create that immersive experience and make it fun and valuable for the person you're targeting? Those are 3 key questions to ask to take your next campaign from standard to immersive.
Amazing how it all ties together. It's immersive.
Thank you, Kill Me 3 times.
They solved all of our marketing problems.
Who would have thought a hitman would have taught us so much about life and marketing?
That's right. Well, that's it for today's episode. You can find current and past episodes of the podcast at speakinghuman.com. You can also subscribe to the Speaking Human podcast in the iTunes store. We'd love to hear your feedback, so please leave us a review on iTunes.
You can also email us with your thoughts on the Kill Me 3 times immersive experience or any questions or comments whatsoever. feedback@thinkmonsters.com. That's feedback@thinkmonsters.com. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Speaking Human. Catch you then, humans.
Speaking Human.
Yes!